Jack it up. Jack it up. Okay, let's go. Hey guys. Okay, so today uh, we are going to. I have a friend here who's going to model for us. So this is Muscleman. He's been helping me with anatomy studies for years. So he's going to help us demonstrate some muscles. And what I've been thinking is I'll just start with some gestures and I'll just demonstrate how I approach the construction and anatomy. And yeah, I'll just draw some gestures and we are going to and then we are going to talk about some muscles, how we can stylize them, and yeah. Sake, yo, what's up? Not late, am I? No, no, we just started, just got out of the shower because I wanted to refresh. Nice, my mind. Take things off my head. Yeah, shower always works. How are you, man? How is it going? Good, nice. I'm good. Tired again, but that's kind of default. I'm always tired. So we started with some gestures, same as always, and we'll do some gestures and then uh, take them further and draw some anatomy on these. And I'll try to do 2 drawings, but I'm not sure if I can do both. But yeah, I'll at least do one, and then maybe we can do something like question and answer, or answer some questions. Don't push yourself too hard. What is? I hope there's no quizzes. No. I'm really having a tough time deciding colors for which. I already tried the method you sent. If you are having trouble on which color to pick, I would say so you can think about the personality of the character, right? And you can do a quick do a Google search quick, and you can check the psychological effects of colors. So, for example, they kind of change from culture to culture, but there are some general colors like red, right? Red is related to blood. So if you want to do a vampire, red would be at least a safe color to go, right? Or if you would draw a demon or something, red would be nice, and stuff like that. So you could think about the main trait of the character. What's the most dominant trait on the personality? Like, is she adventurous? Is she like, I don't know, shy, or uh, so like red means dangerous? Sometimes, yes, depends on how you use it, but yeah, most of the time it's kind of excites us, right? Because it's the same color with blood, but at the same time it can have a meaning related to life, right? Blood is also life, so it's kind of depends on how you use it, but there are psychological meanings of colors. Today I learned something new again. Thanks to you. No problem, man. I will put this information to good use. Yeah. Uh, and if you look at any good artwork, uh, nothing is by chance, right? Everything is conscious. Uh, every color you pick, they all have a purpose. Yeah, I mean, I don't use uh, those concepts right away every time, but when I'm stuck, I just uh, revert back to the fundamentals or the principles, and then go from there. We are choosing a sketch to choose from to draw detailed anatomy. Yeah, yes, yes. I got some reference photos, uh, but obviously I can't show them on stream because they contain nudity. But later I can link them on Discord so you can check that out. And they probably have copyright because I bought them. But yeah, I just found some jacked guys so we can see the muscles better. I guess seeing the nudity helps more with seeing where the muscles are. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't need to be completely naked, but most of the time it's just pure nudity. Yeah. Glad there's a feature to turn those on. Yeah, most reference sites have that. Do I need to get Photoshop? No, not at all. You don't need to. You can just go with Krita. I mean, if you in the future, if you work in the industry, you probably at some point will have to use Photoshop because pretty much all studios use Photoshop. But even if you don't, I mean, you can at least learn how to save and load files, right? It's not a necessity, but it's kind of industry standard at this point. Is Photoshop subscription per monthly base? Yes. Do you buy it once? You are good to go. No, it's they switched to subscription. I don't know when, but I think it's been like a couple of years. But yeah, I prefer one-time purchase. I mean, if you are if you got used to Krita, I would say just go with it. It's a really good app. It does everything that Photoshop does. To Krita, yeah. They can import the Photoshop file type. Yes, totally. Okay, I'll use the bathroom real quick, and then we can pick one of these and start drawing some anatomy. So be right back, guys. Okay, I'm back. So you can also type, for example, the parts that you struggle the most. We can also talk about them. Maybe we can do one front view and one back view. It's the lower body for me. Okay. Yeah, I think we can go with this one. Lower body and the arms. Yeah. I mean, I struggled with forearms so for a long time. So usually when I'm drawing figures, you probably have seen me doing that. I just start with a gesture. Just make a quick gesture study or drawing. And then if I'm going to continue on that, just draw over and keep iterating, right? When I'm drawing a figure or a character, I just go like that. When I'm doing anatomy study, I just take that gesture, maybe fix some proportions, so just check it out and fix some proportions or the parts that's looking weird. And then I draw the basic skeleton on it. And then draw the muscles as simple forms. And yeah, that's just to remember the muscles, remember the shapes, practice and make yourself remember the origins and the insertions of the muscles. Whole skeleton, yes, but it's very simplified. We are not going to draw it detailed like this. So we are not drawing all the details like this. It will be very simple. Okay, so it's scared me there. Nah, nah. I mean, imagine drawing a ribcage, right? So first, just indicating some positions. So this will be kind of stylized. The proportions will not be accurate to real life. So this is more like how you can draw stylized anatomy than to draw accurate anatomy or realistic. So one trick is when you are trying to find the balance of the figure, you can just draw a straight line from the head, and that's usually where at least one of the feet are. Actually, if I do this, it's kind of off, but he also has his other leg like this. It's you could, I mean, you could get away with it, but just in case, I'll just do something like this maybe, so it looks more like he's standing on this one. Simplest way to avoid balancing, putting a box below the feet. All right, so we have the basic sketch. But this is kind of stylized. If you look at the proportions, it's like he's, let's check it. So 4, 6, 8, 10. See, he's almost 11 heads long, right? Very macho, yeah. And yeah, you can play with the proportions. In real life, it's like 7.5 heads. A regular person would be something like that. But in video games, movies, comic books, we tend to use 8 or more. So this would be something like a proportion of a superhero, right? And one really good trick is to just make the head bigger or smaller, right? If you just make the head bigger, it instantly changes the style. Or you can do something like this. Maybe it would be, I don't know, some super villain or something. So yeah, I'll just go with like this. But yeah, when it comes to proportions, you could say the position of the crotch and of the torso is kind of the midpoint. And you can always stick to that. And you can just change the size of the head. You can make it bigger or smaller. Anyway, so let's draw a very simple skeleton for the head. So I just start the circle like this. Imagine a cylinder inside. It would be something like this. We have a cylinder and a sphere encapsulating it. Right, we have the forehead. So these are 1/3. This is the hairline. This is the start of the eye sockets. And this is where the nose ends, and this is chin. And it comes down like this. Cheekbones. And you could think about the mouth area as this sphere. We have the jaw, and cheekbones go towards the back like this. So just drawing a very simple skeleton, simple forms. And then we have the eye sockets, something like this. We have this part called glabella, and we have the nasal opening. And we have teeth and lower jaw, something like this. So unless you are drawing a very detailed, I don't know, drawing or a zombie or something, you can just draw a simple skeleton just to indicate the positions, so you can, so you know where to place what. Right, so this will be where the ear is. Yeah, when I look at it now, this guy is really jacked, so I'll just make the head just a little bit bigger. Something like this, maybe. Yeah. As guidelines, yeah. So the idea is to practice these simple forms, like basic shapes of the head, arms, all that. And then it's like learning a new skill, right? First you practice them consciously, and then they become automatic. Your mind automatically starts to see those simple forms when you look at a figure. And then you can, basically you don't think about them anymore, right? They become automatic. Okay, so let's draw the rib cage. So let me pull up something from here. Okay, so when I'm drawing a figure, what I do is usually there are these landmarks on the body. So these are places where basically the bony parts of the body, right? these parts you can pretty much always find on the body. So you can find the sternum, the clavicles, and cheeks. These are all the bone parts and they don't change shape, so you can pretty much find them always. These parts of the forearm, these parts, they are so important. And knees, right? You can find these parts all the time. So whenever I'm drawing a figure, I first look at the landmarks, right? So if I'm drawing the rib cage, the first thing I look is in relation to the head. So where is this part here, right? Where is the start of that landmark? This one. So I just find this. Once you find this, you basically found the rib cage, right? You basically found the rotation of the rib cage. Because if it's like this, if you think about it as a box, it would be something like this. Right? So it's something like this, the basic form. So once you find this line, you can basically draw the rib cage like that. After resizing the head, I usually have a hard time deciding where the neck is supposed to be. Yeah, it will come with time. Sometimes I have a hard time as well. Hey, cute potato, how are you doing? Right, so the first thing I look is sternum, right? This part, this landmark. So I just draw something like this, and if you find this part, so just imagining how the ribcage is locationed, so it would be something like this. Or let's draw the simple box first, right? So this would be, these parts would be the ends, this would be the opening. So I just draw something like this. You don't have to draw this box, but as you practice this, it's like after some point you start to imagine this box, right? And the reason we draw this box is just to find the direction, right? So if you draw this box, you can basically tell ribcage is looking this way, right? It's just to find those axes, right? So this is the up axis. This is like this axis, and we have something like this. Hey TK, late but I made it. Hope everyone's good. Yeah, we are all good. Studying some anatomy. How are you? Okay, so again, this box is not the perfect representation of the ribs, but it's just to simplify and make things easy. Right, so we find the sternum, and I just draw that top opening of the rib cage like this, and then you can add some more details, right? You can do something like this. It doesn't need to be perfect because we are doing a stylized drawing. Something like this, right? And when you look at the head from side, so this is the skull, right? And neck part of the spine, something like this. And then we have neck, and then we have the spine and lower spine. Right, so this part is where the rib cage is. So I start with kind of imagining, trying to think 3D and trying to find this point. It's kind of in the middle of the head, both when you are looking from front and side. So it's like starting from here and goes towards this back part of the rib cage, right? So it would be something like this. So usually when I simplify, I just think about the spine as a box, right? It's always easier to draw a box than a tube. I don't know, maybe. I think that depends. But yeah, drawing a box is much easier. And since we don't see the back, I just draw something like this. And the back part is curved, I'm just sketching. And we are going to go down like this. Okay, so let's finish part here. Done working for the week. I'm fantastic. Nice. Okay, so front part is something like this. We have the sternum. The back part is kind of lower. And since we are thinking about the ribs as a box, at least box form, it would be something like this, right? So it's always so useful to think about these lines, right? When you are practicing, if you draw these lines, you'll make a great favor to yourself. Yeah, so just a stylized ribcage, it's something like this. Again, it doesn't need to be accurate or perfect. It's just once you find these faces, right? Front face, side face, and then you can start attaching muscles to it. Hey, Ibrahim. Right, and then let's go down. We have the spine coming like that. And this part would be the lower spine. So what I do usually is, so again, let's draw these with red. So we have these points, right? And we have the sternum, the landmarks. So usually what I do is I just follow these lines. So if you just follow them, you would find the edges of the opening of the pelvis. Right, so you can think about the pelvis as a box as well. So it's a tilted box when you are looking from the side, and when looking from the front, it's something like this, right? This is the pelvis, so these parts usually match up, at least on the male body. They are kind of lined up, right? And if you think about the pelvis, it's a box like this, right? This is the top face, and this is the front face, and it's kind of box that's tilted forward, right? Tilted like this. So if we want to place that in perspective here, so the figure, what he's doing here is the balance is kind of on this foot, this leg, sorry, and it would be something like this. So this part is higher, right? Because this leg is higher. So it's something like this. Or maybe a little bit more like this. Right, so when I'm trying to find proportions and the directions, the only thing I care about is the direction of this box. If you just find the correct direction, rest is basically just subdividing it, right? If you just follow these lines. This is the front opening of the pelvis, and we have a shape like this. It goes like this. We have a socket here, right, and then it goes like this. And back part has a curve like this as well. And then we have the sacrum You don't have to draw it, but yeah, it's something like this, right? Pelvis. You don't need all the details, you don't even need to draw these parts because they are mostly covered with the inner leg, right? So yeah, we can just do this. Okay, and then spine kind of sits on the pelvis like this, and you can just connect. So again, this is so useful to draw these construction lines. These will help you so much. So since we are looking in a perspective like this, we will see the socket more. So it will be something like this. Okay, so when I zoom out, I realized his body is like this, right? So let's draw with a different color. It's like this, right? It's going like this. So the back wouldn't be like this. Instead, it would be more straight from the angle we are looking. We can also exaggerate, make it like this. But yeah, we can also make this part coming to this side as well. Okay, so when I find these parts, I think most of the hard work is done. The rest is basically hitting the arms and legs. So usually what I do is first find the clavicles, right? The clavicles are like I tend to draw them straight first. So I kind of try to find that top part of the deltoid, right? These parts. And then draw a straight line. Because clavicles can move independently from each other. So they can be, when you look from front, they can be like this. Or they can be like this. They can be like this. Right, so I first find that straight line, start to finish. And then if you look at the clavicle, it's something like this, right? It has this S shape. So it's kind of hard to do that S shape on the figure. It's not always easy, but if you just draw a straight line first, find the start and the finish, and then you can just do this, right? Do this S form. If you are comfortable, you can just right away do it. But yeah, it's something like this. Right, and then we have the other one. So when I'm drawing clavicles, I tend to think about them in three parts. If this is the complete height of the length of the clavicle, thinking about 1/3 is really helpful. This will make sense in a moment. But yeah, and just at the finish, just under it, we have sockets starts of the upper arm. Right, so upper arm, the bone of the upper arm is something like this. I usually, if you look at it from the front, it's usually something like this. I start with a circle and then draw a box like this and draw something like this. Right, you can also simplify it further, like circle, line, triangle. So when I'm drawing the upper arm, first thing I look, so we found this place, right? We found the start, and I look at the elbow. So I look at the direction of the arm and trying to find this line, right? So in perspective, this line could be like this or this or this. So I'm trying to think 3D and trying to find that direction. So it would be something like this, right? And if we take this further, if you look at the arm from perspective, it would be something like this. We have this box, we have the sphere like this, we have this cylinder form, and the lower part, you can also think about this as a cylinder, and it goes up like this, right? Something like this. And you can also think about this as a cylinder. So once you find these parts, it's very easy, right? You don't even need to find cylinder. If you find this, just draw that triangle in the perspective and connect it, right? No need to make it complicated. So, the simpler you think about it, the easier it will become, right? So it looks kind of long, but whatever, we are doing a stylized drawing. Usually the upper arm, when the arm is resting naturally, if this arm would be resting naturally, when you draw the arm, the end of the arm would line up with the end of the rib cage, right? So it would be something like this. So if you find the rib cage, just take a line out of the rib cage, from end of the rib cage, that's where the upper arm ends. Okay. Okay, so let's make it a little bit shorter, maybe it will look better. Yeah, so thinking about it like this. Because if you try to draw the realistic skeleton in perspective, it will be so hard, right? Especially if you are a beginner. But everybody can draw a triangle in perspective, right? God, that's so simple. Any course you recommend for beginners? Yes, you can take my course. I have a course on figure drawing and anatomy. It should be in the description. You can check that out. Yeah, and I'm just connecting this. You don't even have to draw these forms, right? But I just indicate this thickness of this. Okay, let's take the other arm. So this arm is kind of bent. And we are kind of looking at the arm from the side, right? And that line would be, if you look at a line from the side, it would look like a dot, right? So it would be something like this. Or we can just draw this, draw that cylinder. Right, so let's look at it here. Do we have a side view? No. Anyways. Okay, so same idea. When you look at from the side, you can start like this, but the end of the upper arm is something like this. Again, doesn't matter too much unless you are doing a very realistic drawing. It would be something like this. Okay. So again, this is kind of stylized. Its proportions are a bit off. Since this is a jacked dude, I'm kind of making the arms longer, legs longer, but usually this part would end up with this, right? If you draw a perfect circle, it would just line up with the ribs. Not in this case, but yeah. Okay, so let's look at the forearm. So when you look at the front, again, this will make this so much easier. Let's draw here. So we have the socket, right? We have the line. This is the clavicle. Right, let's draw it like this. Right, this is the upper arm. And then the forearm is kind of shorter, but you have the hand like this. So forearm, I struggled it for a long time until I started thinking about it simple forms. So there are two bones on the forearm, right? And they can turn like this, they can go up. They can be so complicated, and there are all the muscles. So they can be insanely complicated real fast. So if you look at here, you can see there are lots of muscles here, right? This is so complicated. If you start or try to draw this, I mean, it will really hurt you, right? And you probably won't get out of it. The chances are you are going to get lost in it, right? So if you look at the arm, if you think about it in simple terms, there are two bones. This is the radius, and this is ulna. Draw each nerves, yes. So I'm just going to draw over this. So we have the upper arm, right? And when you think about the forearm, this part, outside is a circle, inside is a box. And when you come down to the hand, if hand is open, that means if the palm is facing like this, facing front, it would be something like this. So circle on the outside, circle on the inside. Box on the inside, box on the outside. They just switch places. If you do that, so this is the upper arm. Circle on the outside, circle on the inside. Box on the inside, box on the outside. And then you just connect them. That's the forearm. Right? If you think about it, you can find it anytime. And then we have the wrist. There are actually 8 bones here. But you can just draw it as a sphere, right? Because we don't see them. And then we have the hand. Right, so let's look at it when it's turned. So again, let's draw it again. Circle on the outside, box on the inside, box outside, circle inside. Right? Yeah, right? Very easy. And we connect them. So this one starts small, ends big. This one ends big, starts small. And the hand would be something like this. And this will be thumb. And this is pinky. Right, so radius is the thumb side. And ulna is the pinky side. Right, so you can always find that like this. If you are struggling on finding or solving the forearm, just look at the thumb, right? That's where this bone is. And look at the pinky, that's where ulna is. Okay, so as I said, this forearm turns, right? Rotates. And when it rotates, let's take this one. And what happens when it rotates is, let's take a purple. So again, these don't change, right? Circle on the outside, circle on, box on the inside. So these won't change. This is a hinge socket, which means when you look at from the side, it's like this. It goes like this, right? It only rotates on one axis. So when you rotate your forearm, so that means if you turn your hand up, face your palms up or down. So this was facing up. And if you rotate your forearm, this bone, this radius, rotates over ulna, right? Ulna never rotates. Ulna is always like this. It's a hinge, and it only goes up and down. Radius, however, rotates over ulna, right? Rotates like this and this. And what happens is this box comes here, and hand is like this. And then we have the thumb here, and pinky here, right? And then it becomes, it's kind of off. I'll just fix it. Sorry if this is confusing, but again, if you connect these, it's again circle on the outside. They become something like this, right? They make this X shape. So this can be very confusing when they are rotated like this, and then when the arm is raised, they can take all the shapes, right? And then there are muscles and stuff like that. This can be very confusing. So that's why we look at it very simple, right? We just think about these shapes, and if you memorize it, so thumb side is radius and pinky side is ulna. If you memorize it, it will help you so much. Okay, so in this case, again, we are looking this at in perspective. So this would be the circle, and when you think in perspective, that square with it, it would be a box, right? It would be a box like this. And circle we don't see. And when we look at here, we just see the box because we are looking at the inside of the arm. So it would be something like this, maybe. Right, and in this case, this forearm is kind of almost halfway turned in, right? If you think about the perspective, the lines are like this, and this part, wrist, is like this. So it's like, it's almost 45 degrees, right? So again, this line, right? This direction of the wrist. I just find that direction and look in here, kind of look at it from the side. Again, you can think about it like a cylinder or a dot or just draw a circle, right? You can also think about it, you can also group them together like this. Think about it as a box. So that's what I do with knees, elbows, wrists. I just, even when I'm gesturing. So when I'm gesturing, you can see, let's see, you can see I'm always trying to find that straight part on the knee, on the elbow. Right, so this part is something like this. You can start with a simple box and then figure out where the bones are. Right, so this part, inside part, is the ulna, and since it's not rotated inside, it would be something like this. So I'm looking at the thumb. There's the thumb. Thumb is this side, right? So thumb side would be, what is it? Radius. So radius starts small, ends big. So it would be this big box here. and the circle behind this one. We just connect it. Right, again, it doesn't need to be perfect. You just connect it, just indicate. And again, this is the direction of the fist. So it would be something like this. And as I'm doing right now, you can just erase it, draw over it, erase it, draw over it until you feel comfortable with it. Right, so again, we have this part. So we have other part. And this part you can always see on the wrist. If you look at any figure, on the pinky side, where the hand starts, there's always this bump, right? So it's like this. And ulna, we connect to ulna like this, and it becomes something like this. So in this position, we pretty much don't see the most of the radius, but it's something like this. Again, this is not the actual shape. I'm just making an abstraction. It will be something like this. Right? This would be something like this. Let's make this one also a cylinder. Okay, and then we have the hand. Let's do it like this for now. Okay, so let's make this one as well. Now I realize this is not the best pose to explain the forearm, but we can take a look at it later as well. Anyway, so again, we have the circle on the inside. What was the circle? Excuse me, we don't have the circle on the inside, we have the square on the inside. So what was the square? It's ulna, right? And ulna goes like that. Ulna ends as a circle. Starts big and small. We have the upper arm like this. And we pretty much don't see radius here, right? So you can just do this and be done with it. And again, we have the hand. Let's draw it like this for now. Okay, we also have the shoulder blades. We don't actually see them, but it's a good practice to think about them even when you are drawing from the front. So shoulder blades, when you look at the back of the body, if this is the back of the body, let's do something like this. When you take the width of this part, width of the torso, and if you divide it in 3, shoulder blades are roughly 1/3 of it, right? It's something like this. So I'm just eyeballing it here, just looking at this distance and thinking about 1/3, right? We don't need to draw it perfect because we don't see it, but just to place them here like this would be nice. Okay. All right, so let's take a look at the legs. The shoulder blades are behind the socket. The socket is on the shoulder blades. Right, so let's look at like this. If you look at the shoulder blade in perspective, so when you look at from the front, it's like this triangle, right? And you can also, easy way to draw the shoulder blade is draw a box, split it diagonally, get rid of this part, cut here, that's the shoulder blade. And then you can add more details. It has this part here, goes like this. This part goes to the front and connects with the clavicle. And this part, this is the socket. This part is the socket. And this is the start of the arm. Arm just tucks in to the socket. Right, and it goes down and it's something like this. And it has a top side like this. Right, you can just start with a box. Anyways, but if you take a look at the shoulder blade in perspective, if you just draw a box in perspective, and again, split it diagonally, get rid of here, and draw a socket here. This is where that sphere goes in, right? This is the arm. Something like this. And this is the shoulder blade. We are looking at perspective like this. Right, so sockets, arms just tucks in the shoulder blade. Shoulder blades are kind of the base for the start of the arm. And since shoulder blades are not connected to the back, right, they just float here, like they can go like this, go up. So arms are, when it comes to bones, if you are talking about the bones, arms are technically only connected to the body with clavicles, right? So it's connected from here and it moves like this. It can go like this, it can go like this, it can go back, it can go front. So all the muscles that's connected to arm from the body, they are doing all the work. Anyways, let's look at the legs. So this view would be a good place to demonstrate. So again, if you think about the proportions, doesn't matter what head size I'm going with, doesn't matter if I'm doing exaggerated pose or exaggerated character. I just find this start of the leg, right? This is end of the torso, and find the end of the leg. Midpoint would be roughly where the knee is. Okay. So this is kind of off. I'll just fix this stage, sketch. Right, so midpoint would be something like this. I kind of place the knee something like this. Goes lower leg is shorter than the upper leg, so it would be actually more to the bottom. So it's something like this. Okay, again, same with elbow. Just thinking about the knee as a big box, right? Same here. You just have a box here. Again, when starting, don't make it complicated. Just think about it very simple. We just have a box, right? That's all you need to know. And then we have the end of the lower leg. So you can also think about this part as a box as well. Right? This comes down like this. So again, I'm finding these angles. This we are looking from the front. This is kind of, it's more like this, right? If we look at the perspective, just find these lines, it's something like this. Okay, so midpoint is where the knee is. And again, if we think like this is the pelvis. If you just draw from the midpoint to these edges, this place, this intersection, is where the start of that edge. Right, so let's make it more clear. The pelvis is actually something like this. And we have the sockets right here at this intersection. And let's say this is the complete length of the legs. So let's say this is where the knees are. This is the feet. Okay. Let's make this to the side. So again, this idea, we have a circle. We have this part, this lower part of the upper leg. And we have this upper part of the lower leg, right? We divide this box into two. And again, we come like this. We go like this, right? We have this. Very simple. And then we have a box here. And again, you can go down like this. But it's kind of curved. I like to do something like this. And it's actually, it's also actually is a triangle, right? It's something like this. So again, we have the box, triangle, line, or you can do it curved line like this. And then we have bit. Right, so you don't have to draw the skeleton. You just need to internalize this, practice this, and find these lines on the figure in perspective. Then it's so easy. Okay, if we keep iterating this, it would be something like this, right? And then we have the knee. We also have a triangle here, and it goes like this. And again, triangle. You could say cylinder or box, goes down like this. Okay, so let's look at it here. On the front, so the thighs are on the edge of the simplified place. Yes, I mean it's not as simple as that. I'm just making it, I'm just oversimplifying it to communicate this idea, right? It will be a little bit complicated than this, but I'm just starting very simple so you understand it. So again, circle, box, box, triangle, box, triangle, goes down curved or straight. Again, it's something like this. So this edge, the inside part of this bone, kind of pops out. And we also have this thin bone here, but you can just edit like this. These don't move independently, so you can also group them and make something like this. And inside part we have this extension like this, so you can think about it like this. Okay, and the inside part is always higher, outside part is lower, right? It's like this. inside part of the ankle is always higher, outside is lower. This part is also a landmark. You can see this on the body pretty much all the time. Okay, I hope that makes sense. Again, when you look at from the side, you have that circle. When we look at from the front, you have that box. So again, you have that box here, a triangle, something like a triangle again here. Not an exact triangle, but it's more like has this angle and goes down like this. And again, we have this triangular shape and comes down like this. Now when you look at this bone here called fibia, excuse me, this is kind of, this bone has a kind of angle, right? It starts here and ends here. If you draw a straight line, let's draw it black. If you draw a straight line, it's kind of tilted forward, right? It starts towards the back of this bone, which is called tibia, and ends in the ankle. Okay, I think I'm going into too much details. Let's draw it here. So again, the initial box we did, and then most part of it is the upper part, the lower part of the upper leg, and the lower part is the lower leg. Right, I'm not even talking about the names, but this is femur. This is tibia. The thin one is fibula. Okay, so this is the end of femur, start of tibia. So again, once you find the socket, make this one, and we have a line like this. Again, we have like this. That's fine. Per part, it's something like this, right? And we have a triangle. We have a triangle. Again, triangle. Straight. Or curved, you can do it curved. If you are comfortable. Again, but top part of tibia. Triangle. Back part is also angled like this. And you can go down like this. There's this extension on the inside. And we have fibula, that thin bone on the outside. Again, there's this relationship. Inside one is higher, outside is lower. Something like this. Okay. Usually I just group them because they don't even move. You can think about them as this shape. Okay. And again, we have this box here. And we have this connection. The reason we don't think about these is you don't really see these, right? You just need the placement of the socket. You don't even need the placement of the socket, but this part here, there are lots of muscles connect here. So if you find this part, you can pretty much find all the muscles that's connecting here. Okay, same on this leg, we have this box, and we have this connection. But Honestly, I don't even think about this connection. I don't even remember the names of these parts. I just think about it as a circle and a line. Okay. And if you look at from the side, you have this angle, right? It's coming like this. So it's not straight like this, it's more like this. There's this angle. We have that triangle and box, but it's kind of curved. And they go like this. Okay, same here, just a tube going down, connecting like this. Right, again, this is not accurate, but that's not the point. It's more about finding these points, and yeah. Okay, and then we can just put some gesture as feet. Okay, I know this looks like too much work to practice, but as you do it, it becomes faster and more automatic. It's kind of slow because I'm explaining at the same time, but as you do it more and more, uh, these are just very simple concepts, right? You can just uh, implement them or internalize them very fast. So next stage would be I just clean up the skeleton and maybe draw some more details on the hands and feet. Just check for some proportions and then start building the muscles on top of it. Okay, so I'll take a small break. Some nature break maybe. And then we start drawing some muscles. Okay, so I'll be right back, guys. Okay, I'm back. So let's iterate the knees one step further. So when you look at these parts, welcome back, thanks. I'm getting excited to draw a skeleton somehow, yeah. When it looks easy, you want to do it, right? And that's the whole idea. Always try to simplify the problem as much as you can. So it's not a big monster, right? So it's something easy so you can just start. Anyways, the general simplification, uh, like the amazing artists like Gottfried Bams or Marshall Wandroff do something like this. Initially, I think about this as a box, but if I need to subdivide it further, I think about, let's say, we draw that box in perspective, and this is his tibia, and this is the lower part of the upper leg, femur. And let's draw it like this. I just imagine a cylinder inside here, right? It's actually more like this. Okay, so cylinder would be here, and we have this shape. So we would end up with something like this. Right? These construction lines. We end up with something roughly like this. Okay, when you want to draw it further, we have this one. And if you want to also add the kneecap, it's pretty much lined up with this part. You can start with a triangle or you can draw a box. Let's make it bigger. If you draw that box, it's something like this, right? Again, the actual shape is not important because there are lots of tendons connecting to the kneecap. We don't actually see it as this. We just see a bump, right? So you can just make something like this. Okay, on the back we have these parts. It's like that middle part of the cylinder is cut out and lower leg muscles, calves connect here. Again, kneecaps line up like this. Okay, so let's make it more like that cylinder. So when we look at from the front, we have that cylinder, right? And it is more like this. Inside part is more like this. And we have the kneecap like this. And again, let's draw that cylinder like this. And again, kneecap doesn't go up. It just gets pulled back. I'm going to explain it in a minute. But it stays in roughly the same place. Okay, so if you think about, again, very simple. Bugs. Tibia. We have the cylinder. We have that shape. Goes like this. We have the kneecap. Femur. Okay, this is straight. Let's draw it halfway bent. So this leg goes like this. It's more like kneecap stays in place because it's connected with tendons. Like this. And this, it's like the cylinder rolls back, right? It's rolling on the cylinder. So it becomes something like this. And kneecap doesn't go like this. Instead, it just gets pulled in. Again, connected with tendons like this. And if the knee is bent all the way, it would be something like this. Right? Kind of off, but you get the idea. Again, kneecap doesn't go up. It's just pulled in like this. Okay, that's how the kneecap works. And it's a good landmark. Whatever position the legs are, you can always think about this simple concept and find the placement of the kneecap. Okay, so let's clean this one up and then start on the muscles. By the way, I'll probably post this drawing, these stuff on Discord, so don't worry about taking screenshots. You can just take them after class. I've taken them anyway. Nice. Yeah, so let's make this cleaner. He has a big ear like this. We have the sternum, like it has this part, and clavicles just sit on this end of it, like this. Again, these are unimportant details because we don't actually see them most of the time. So I'm kind of being sketchy with the parts we won't see. So we won't see the actual spine, so I'm just putting in there, being loose, not worrying about the details or the correct perspective. So in this part, the important section is these parts, right? The placement of these lines, the direction that ribcage is looking, the direction that pelvis is looking. We have sacrum like this. Again, we won't see it. Just putting in there. Midpoint. We have the socket. Again, we are grouping usually, but let's don't be lazy and draw them separately. So something like this. So you can think about it as a diamond shape. The starts and ends of fibula, you can think about it like this. They have this diamond shape. So it will be something like this here, the diamond shape, and the diamond shape here, and we have a straight line. Okay, same idea here, that box part, and we have that long tube-like part. We have that cylinder part here, the kneecap. Again, drawing these construction lines when you are practicing is very useful. We have this extension of tibia, like this, and fibula on the outside, it's just indicated. We have the clavicles, again, that S shape. Arm, start with a circle, goes as a tube. a triangular part, cylinder, and ulna connecting as a hinge joint, ending small, starting big. We have that part of radius. Same idea here. This cylinder part at the end. We have something like this. And we only see ulna here. Okay, so one important thing about pelvis is, let me pull this up again. So we have these landmarks, right? So we have these points, and we have these points. So I think it was called anterior superior iliac spine and anterior inferior iliac spine. So you can think about iliac spine, anterior inferior iliac spine. So I think it was like something like that. I don't really worry about them. Just we have these points, right? These are important landmarks. We are going to talk about them in a second. So we have these parts, which lines up like this, right? And we have these parts. Kind of in midpoint in between here. Okay, so I think we don't have time to go into details with hands and feet. Maybe we can do it in another anatomy class. So I'm just going to sketch it like this. But you can think about the hand as a simple shape as well. If you look at from front, we have a box. Just add another box and divide that into 4. There you have it. We have the hand. Longest finger is the middle finger, and we have point finger. These are usually kind of same. Right, and then we have the thumb. Thumb roughly ends up, when it's resting naturally, roughly ends up at the first digit, the end of the first digit of the point finger. There it is. It's like proportions of the hands. And when you're drawing in perspective, you just think about it as a box, right? It's like this. You have this box. Think about it, another box, and put the fingers in, right? But again, we can look at the hands and feet in detail, you know, on another class. But again, even when I'm sketching, you can see I'm just thinking about it as a box, and then you can just divide it, do something like this, right? Maybe thumb is thumb is like this. Same with foot. You can think about it. The very basic shape, you can just do this right. From side, it's something like this. Maybe something like this. You can basically draw it like this. And if you want to iterate it further, add that palm part and the fingers. Can go like this. Yeah, we can. I don't want to get into too much detail about them because hands and feet are really a complete lesson by themselves. But again, I just think about this part and add the toes. When thinking about the toes, I just draw the big toe and draw the middle 3 toes groups like this and small toe like this. They would be more something like this. Yep. Again, same idea that this form. We have this arc inside. We have the toe, grouping the middle 3, adding the small one, something like this. It's kind of sketchy, but works. He has some big feet. Okay, let's put in some colors. So any questions you have, feel free to ask, guys. I'll be happy to explain. While I'm just filling this. I think I don't. Maybe if I have, I'll try them out first and experiment. If I can, then I'll ask. Okay. Just enjoying the process, no questions. Nice. Okay. I think that works. Sorry about the line work, guys. It's kind of sketchy. Okay, so let's talk muscles. So starting with the neck, let's look at the muscle man here. So we have these ones, right? These are called platysma. These are like sheet-like muscles, and we don't usually see them or distinguish them, but they are there. So if we hide them, so again, this is more like a reference model. It's not completely artistic anatomy. I referenced this one from medical studies, but yeah, we have the main neck muscle, which is called sternocleidomastoid. I know it's a weird name, but the name comes from sterno. It connects to sternum. Cleido, I think it's written like this. Clavicle. Mastoid. And mastoid is this part of the head. It's called mastoid process. That's why it's called sternocleidomastoid. I think it's the longest muscle, longest name. I don't know. Again, I'm not going to talk about all the names. This is just funny. That's because I'm just talking about that. Anyways, so starting from the back of the head, connecting to these parts of the sternum. Right, so it's something like this. Other one, just imagining the start, coming down like that. Such a long name for a short muscle, yeah. So it's something like this. And you can see it's more wide here. So it's actually one part of it connects to sternum, as the name suggests, and one part connects to clavicle. So remember I said think about clavicle in 3 parts. So the first part, so this first 1/3 would be that part of the neck muscle. Okay, so it will make more sense when I just put some colors in. Okay, they go down like this. And again, you can always draw these construction lines. They help so much. And as I said before, it's so important to, instead of the shapes of the muscles, just learn the insertions and origins, right? Where do they start? Where do they connect? And let's look at the mechanics of the muscle just for a moment. So muscles are usually this sphere shape, right? And then we have tendon. They are usually like this. Tendon, and we have the meat. right? And they connect to bone, and muscles always pull, right? Muscles never push. All they do is nervous system just provides electricity and muscles contract, and they always pull. Not a single muscle pushes, right? Muscles always pull and they contract and they become like this, and they pull the bones together. So you may ask, then how are we pulling or pushing? It's like different muscles working together. For example, back side might be stabilizing the arm, and then front of the arm is pulling, so you raise your arm, right? They always work like that. No muscle pushes, they always pull. And generally, it's always like this. Tendon, meet, tendon. So you can also think about origin. Origin is the start. Insertion. Insertion is the end. And another important thing about muscles is origins are always start towards the body, and muscles always go away from the body, right? So that's a concept you can keep in mind. So if you think about this part here, muscles always start from this part and goes towards limbs, right? So if you forget one muscle on the leg, which one is the origin? Origin is always here, right? Same with arms. They always go away from the body. So origin is always closer to the body. Okay, so that's the neck muscles. I'm going to draw the inner muscles first. Obviously, we are not going to draw all the muscles, but we are just drawing the ones we need. Because if you look at here, this is the trapezius. If you hide this, you can see the muscles here. So if you try to learn all of these, I mean, good luck, right? But we don't even see these. So there are levator muscles, lots of different small muscles here. But you don't need to learn all of these. You just need to learn the muscles that gives the body its shape, right? So there are lots of deep muscles like these. I mean, you don't ever see these unless you are drawing a zombie or something, right? These. You have lots of small muscles like this. So anyways, I start with the inner ones. And we go like that. We build on top of it. Okay, so let's go right into the arms and then build the shoulders and chests on top of it. Maybe it will be okay like that. So let's hide the deltoid for now. Hide the chest. Hide this one. Hide this one. So on the upper arm we have biceps, you probably know it, and triceps. Right, these are main arm muscles. Muscle Man looks so terrifying, I can't focus on his models, but I'm keeping up on the class somehow. Yeah, and this ended up so funny. But Sake, you'll get this model with the course, so you can just open it up on Blender or something, and when you need reference, you can just check it out. Usually when I'm drawing anatomy studies or detailed drawing, I open this on the second monitor and just double check if it's correct or not. Okay, so anyways. Oops. Okay, so we have the biceps, but before biceps we have another muscle underneath here, which is called brachialis. This one. So when we are looking from this angle, we usually see that squashing right here, and this is actually this muscle actually helps almost as much as biceps to raise the arm, because biceps is connected to radius, which is the turning part of the forearm, turning bone on the forearm. So biceps is at the same time turning and raising the arm, but brachialis is connected to ulna. Remember, ulna is a hinge joint, it only goes like this. So this muscle is actually a very strong muscle that that you are using when you raise your arm or doing bicep curls. So it starts from roughly midpoint of the upper arm and connects to ulna. Right, let's isolate like this. Something like this. Okay, so again, find the start, find the end, draw a sphere or whatever shape you want. Let's draw it like this. Because shapes always change and it's different in every figure. Everybody has a different you could say shape of muscles. But yeah, it's something like this. Right, and when we look from the outside, we see this part actually. And then on top of it, we have the biceps. Biceps. Like this. So biceps has two heads. Like this. One head goes like this. One head goes to this extension of the scapula. I'm not going into details, but usually we don't see these parts. Just keep in mind that its origin is roughly around here on the top of the scapula, like this. So it's basically lined up with the arm coming like this. You have this shape, something like this, right? So you can start with a tendon and connecting to ulna somewhere around here. You can also check the reference you are using. Okay, we can raise these parts of the brachialis. I have a feeling that this model will end up very weird because of the proportions and stuff like that. So we'll see. Probably end up very funny looking. Anyways, and then we have the triceps on the back. So triceps has 3 arms. One on the inside we usually don't see, but we have these 2 heads, one connecting to the upper part of the upper arm, another connecting to scapula inside these. So we can see it's like that. One part connecting to upper part of the upper arm, and one part connecting to scapula like this. And the lower part, I've hidden the textures here, but it's like lower part is mostly tendons. Okay, so lower part is connecting here like this. We have the inner part we don't usually see, but there is this bump, and on top of it we have those 2 heads. Okay, so in this position we usually see it like this, something like this, right? They are kind of hanged. They go like that, like that. Right, so this muscle here called brachialis, this one, you kind of see it in between biceps and triceps. He's gonna turn out like Frankie, yeah. Okay, so when we look at the forearm, it's like I mean, this is so complicated, right? Does the brachialis show up when the arm is flexed? Is it visible then? Yes. Usually it's more visible on the inside because on the outside forearm muscles connect to that part. But on the inside you can pretty much always see, at least in the developed bodies. Or is that a different muscle? Yeah, you can see it on the inside on the muscular bodies. Okay, so how to think about the forearm? So this is a lot of muscle, right? But we can basically group forearm muscles into 3 parts. So we have this one here, these 2, we can group them and call them rotators or supinators. Okay, and then we have the ones on the outside, these ones, you can just group them and draw them as one muscle, and these called flexors, sorry, extensors, because they extend the arm. And then we have the ones on the inside, right? These, and these we call flexors. So you can simplify all these complexity to 3 different muscle groups. So that way you can draw it very easy and fast. Okay, so let me see if I can pull up an image. I don't think I have anything ready, but I hope that it will make sense. Okay, so let's start drawing here. So on this angle we see the bottom part of the arm, right? So that would be the outside or the inside part of the arm. So if we look at this angle here, we have these three muscles, and the ones on the inside, deeper muscles, we don't care about them. But yeah, let's pick these, and we group these and call them flexors. Okay, so if you want to draw them, they roughly start at the same place. You can see they all start from the end of the upper arm and one part here, but you can basically draw them like this. Just draw a big circle starting from here. Also checking the reference. Something like this, that meat part, and they become tendons, and they go like mostly to the thumb, right? And they become something like this. These are on the inside. They pull the hand like this. So imagine doing a flex pose. So the name comes from that. Flexors. Okay, and we see a little bit of these muscles here. So this part you've probably seen it lots of times on the arms, right? Most of the time when you are beginning, it's kind of hard to draw this part. So we can just group them and call them the rotators or supinators. And on this angle, we would see it just a little bit like this. Yeah, I think this is not the best angle to talk about it, but they isolate them and look at origins. So they start from the side of the upper arm. They actually start sometimes upper, sometimes lower, but they have a shape like this. So think about it like one shape, one muscle, and they just go to, one part goes to the thumb, one part goes to the you could say kind of lines up with the point finger. But yeah, just think about it very simple. Just group them and call them rotators or supinators, whatever you want to call it. So yeah, you can just do this and be done with it. Maybe biceps come like this. Okay, and then we have this muscle here called coracobrachialis. This again starts from this part of the scapula and connects to kind of inside middle part of the arm, and it's in between triceps and biceps. And this looks like a deep muscle, but when the arm is raised, you can pretty much always see this muscle, even in the non-muscular bodies. So it's like we have that extension of the scapula here. It kind of starts like this, goes like this, connects to the middle of the upper arm. It's something like this. I'm kind of exaggerating it, but yeah, you can pretty much see that when the arm is raised. I know these muscle names have their meanings, but just found funny to me, yeah. Yeah, I think they all have some meaning in Latin. Like, I mean, there are so many weird names, like flexor digitum minimi brevis, right? Extensor carpi radialis longus. Okay, so now we have the arm muscles. Let's also add the chest muscle, and then we can add the deltoid. So let's find pectoralis major. So chest muscle is very interesting as well. It's like, this is the sternum, right? This is the clavicle. This is the arm. This is the rib cage. The chest muscle is like start from 1/3 of this part of the clavicle. It has origins here. Starts from this part of the rib cage. So this is the start. And they all make this shape and connect here. Connect to the outside part of the upper arm. And they are kind of, they have this fan shape. It's like something like this. They are doing something like this. Right, they all converge like this. So one part starts from here, goes like that. Draw it on another layer. So this is the top part, and then we have the part that starts from the sternum. They all go like this. Right, and then we have this lower part, starts from the rib cage. But these kind of tuck under. They kind of go like this. And then we end up with something like this. Is it the same color? Okay. Okay, I hope that makes sense. I know I said I was an oblique guy, but who couldn't appreciate that connection? Yeah, I know, right? Pecs, deltoids. And then on top of it, we have deltoid. So deltoid starts from this 1/3 of the clavicle. This part here called acromion process. And this back part, 1/3 of the shoulder blades. So you can think about it. It has a front side, it has a side part, and it has a back side. So you can think about the deltoid. If you look at from the top, so this is the clavicle, right? We have this part, shoulder blade, clavicle, and side part acromion process. And deltoid is like one part here, one part here, one part here. When we look at from the side, it's like we have the middle part, the front part, and the back part. So we end up with a shape like this. Yep, so in here, what we see is mostly the front part. So it starts from this one torus of the clavicle, and again roughly connects to the outside midpoint of the upper arm. Wait, we can start with the circles, go like this. Maybe we see a little bit of the middle part as well. But yeah, it's something like this. Yeah, at this point maybe I could fix the biceps. Maybe it's too much. Maybe it should go like this. And just do something like this. Okay, and now we have the side part. Since arm is raised, it can be like squashed like this. Yeah, that's turned out really funny. Okay, so when it comes to neck or this part, you can also add the trapezius. See neck, trapezius, back, torso, body. To trapezius. So trapezius is this big muscle starting from neck, top, back of the head. It goes down like connecting all these edges of the one third of the clavicle, side part, and back of the shoulder blade, and goes down like this. And it has connections all through the spine. It makes this shape. And it kind of ends up at the end of the ribs like this. So when looking from this angle, we would see something like this. So just imagining the origins at the back of the head, we have this part here, maybe coming like this, right? And then we have this inside part. And usually what I do is I don't even bother about this part. Just fill it like this. If I'm drawing a figure or a comic book character, I just indicate some muscles like this. Right, we can just get away with that. But yeah, the form is something like this. This part is more concave. So let's draw the other side as well. Something like this. It's coming together. Yeah, we are building our weird looking guy. Okay, so let's go down and also let's add the latissimus muscles here. So on the back, we have these big muscles called lats. You probably know it, right? These are like starting from all the way from bottom part of the body, like they have origins on the pelvis, on the sacrum, they have origins on the spine, and they also have some origins on the rib cage. And they basically make this shape. When you look at them at the back of the body, they are like this, right? You have this, you have this shape. And they actually go front. Let's hide these. They actually come like this and connect to the front of the upper arm. It might seem like complicated, but yeah, they are like kind of in between these muscles. We can talk about them later, but yeah, for now let's think about it like they just come like this and connect to the arm. Okay. So in this case, we only see it if we try to drop through. So they start from this, right? They have origins like here on the spine. So it could be something like this. They come like this, and we can just draw this bump here. And make something like this. Right, we'll draw the abs on top of it, so I won't shade this here. But let's put something like this. Okay. Okay, and then let's go down and look at the abs. So I actually drew it kind of wrong here. There should be some place here. Let's just quickly fix it. It should be something like this. So there is this small place here for some small muscles. It's actually not 6 packs. We actually have 8 packs. Right? It's usually called 6 packs, but anyway, so was there a drawing? Anyway, so let's draw it like this. We have the rib cage. We have the pelvis. The belly is the 8 muscles, yes. So we have the pectoralis like this. Right, we have the chest muscles. So on male body, it's like we have this straight box shape, right? Something like this. So a good trick is, so see this distance? I find the midpoint of this distance between the ribs and the pelvis. Midpoint is where the belly button is. Okay, so this part would be the lower part of the abdomen, and then divide this part in two, and then we have the small ones on top. Okay, something like this. So if you want to draw it here, make a quick sketch on it. Usually I find midpoint here and midpoint here and check the reference, so see if it's rotated, if the torso is rotated or squashed. So it would be something like this, right? It's going straight like this, and find these places that line up. Maybe coming more like this. Right, and then we have these small parts here. And these parts almost always have irregular shapes, right? These are not perfect, always. I either don't draw them or just indicate them or draw them with irregular shapes. Anyway, so I just find the midpoint, roughly eyeballing the midpoint here, and that's where the belly button would be. Right, and then you divide this part in two. We have the abs like this. They actually have a shape like this. So they go like this. But yeah, you can divide it like this and then make that shape. So it would be something like this. We have these irregular parts. Come down. We have the belly button. And we have the lower abdomen. So they are like this, right? Actually, there are lots of layers on the stomach area. But yeah, they are like this. And we rarely see a division here. There's almost never a division here. So lower abdomen is kind of one part like this because there are lots of fat here, and this part is one of the fastest fat collecting parts in the body. So they would look like this. Okay, and once you find the shapes, again, you can turn them into 3D forms. Like, you can do something like this. Just draw construction lines. Like this. Again, these construction lines are to practice and help your mind internalize the forms. So it's kind of up to you how you interpret these forms. Okay, and then we have obliques, TK's favorite muscle. The obliques kind of they are like a bridge between the ribs and the pelvis. So it's like this. They connect to the ribs and they actually go follow the patterns of the ribs, and they also have connections to the back. So it's like covering the let's go, yeah. It's like covering the space between the ribs and the pelvis. So let's check the reference. Yeah, so since this leg is up and this part is kind of squashed, the part here, it will be something like this, right? And I have this front face and side face, so it should be something like this. And they actually come down, their tendons come down to this crotch area. Yeah, but it's something like this. And they keep going and follow the patterns of the ribs, kind of merge with other muscles here. So you can draw it like the abdomens are like following that pattern of the ribs. They go like this. Okay, and this part, you would see it like this. So it has a side part and a front part. So it's something like this. Right, connecting to the ribs. So we have side face and front face. And connecting to ribs like this. And taking the shape, following that pattern of the rib cage. They go like this. I feel like this guy will have huge legs and a small upper body. Anyways, let's draw some muscles here. So we have these muscles here called serratus muscles. Perspective doing its magic. Yeah. So these muscles are some deep muscles, but most of the time we can see them popping out in between the ribs and the latissimus muscles. So here we don't see them because of the angle, but here we probably see them. So let me isolate it and maybe show it better. So this is the ribs, right? And they kind of start from here, this edge of shoulder blade, but from inside they all start like this. And they kind of go out and connect to every rib in the rib cage. But we usually see 2 or 3 of them. So they are like this is the rib. We see these parts, but latissimus muscle kind of covering. So we see something like this. Right? It's like fingers. So let's show the latissimus. So latissimus kind of covering the ones on the bottom. And most of the time we can see the bottom ones. Alright, so if we would draw latissimus here, it would be, let's check the reference. Yeah, it would be something like this. Right, it also covers a part of the rib cage as well. So on every rib, we have these serratus muscles popping out. But Of course, this part is also covered with chest muscle. So we usually see 2 or 3 of them, like this. Okay, so that's not 100% accurate, but just to give the idea. Yeah, I think it's much better and economic if I just go with the one side. And then maybe, I don't know, on another stream we can go into more details. Anyway, so I'm just going to take another break. And then we can finish with the legs. So be right back, guys. Just gonna get some drinks, stretch. Sound good? Your voice is sounding tired. Yeah, but it's not because of that. I did a weekly push workout today. I'm already very tired, so but it's good. It's okay. When you work out, it's like your body releases natural endorphins, natural painkillers. I kind of sound tired, but yeah, uh, I feel better than most of days. Anyways, I'll be right back, guys. All right. Wow, it's been 3 hours. I didn't think it will take this long. Yeah, now we know. Welcome, egg, thanks. Okay, so let's move on to the legs. So what the most prominent muscle on the legs is the quadriceps. This is like taking advanced medical class. Yeah. So quadriceps has 4 parts. If you hide this, there's one on the inside, but we don't see it. Usually we draw these 3 parts. Right, so remember that landmark I did. So that's here. The middle one connects. And these ones connect to the leg. Okay, so let's hide these so we can see better. So the outer one connects here. Inside one connects to the inside part. You don't need to know the exact location, at least when you are beginning. But yeah, you can just eyeball it, so they will kind of start from here. Right, one part goes here. Okay, so let's draw that one first. They kind of converge like triceps, and you know how triceps, all the heads of the triceps converge into tendons and connect to the elbow. It's the same idea. And arms or legs are kind of same, but kind of turned, you could say. So the front of the leg is kind of the back of the arm. So these are like triceps, but with 4 parts. Okay, so let's draw it. We have a tendon like this. We have this middle part, this big middle part connecting here, like this. Maybe we could lower the opacity. Yeah. So it's doing a shape like this, right? And then we have the one on the inside, it's kind of lower. So that meat part would be something like this. It's connecting here. So it's coming like this. Right, you can see this bump on the leg pretty much always. And again, they turn into tendons and connect to the knee like this. And we have the outer part. Again, connects here and here. So we have this big meat here. Doing something like this. And usually it's kind of squashed like this. They kind of press down into each other. depending on the angle, you can see it like this or the previous version. Right, so these are all tendons. And we have this form. We have this form. Right, and then let's find the butt muscles, hip. Yes. Legs. Muscle legs. Okay, so on the outside, we have this long sheet-like part called fascia. So this is called tensor fascia. But the top of it is like a muscle. So when you look at the pelvis from the side, you have the pelvis like that. We have the sacrum, right? We have sockets, something like that. And we have the leg going down like that. So there are three muscles. We have the main butt muscle. It's coming down like this. So you can think about this as a circle here. Butt muscle is like this. We have one part on the front doing this. One part on the middle doing this. And we have the butt muscle. But it's you can think about it like the deltoid. Remember I said legs are like arms. So we have the deltoid like this. So the butt follows the same idea. We have the front part, middle part, and the actual butt. So it would be this part here on the front, starting from front part, almost front part, I mean front side part of the pelvis, like this, and connecting to this top part. So it would be something like this. Right, and then we have the side part. And we have the butt. We don't see the actual butt, we can see connection here maybe. So you can also group these and draw them as a whole or depending on the pose. But yeah, it's something like this. And this part goes more like this. And you can do it like this, right? Just cheat like that. Okay, and then next we have the longest muscle in the body, which is called sartorius. And this is kind of a landmark as well. This muscle kind of divides the front face of the leg from the side face, right? This is like a division. So remember that landmark here, this one. It starts from here and connects to all the way down to the fibula. So it's like this long tube like muscle. So it's like going like this and giving that curved shape to the inside of the leg. And it's going out like that. This part usually pops over it, just pops here. It goes like that. And just goes over and connects to this landmark. Okay, and then we have inside part of the leg. Again, there are lots of muscles here, but we just group them and draw them as a big chunk of muscles. So they kind of start from half of this part of the pelvis, and they have a meat like this, and they do something like this, right? Okay, so and moving down. Again, we have lots of muscles here, but we just group them. So depending on the style or stylization, you can draw these parts as a whole, or draw these and draw this one separate. So calves are actually has more detail here, but yeah. So when you think about the arms, remember the different muscle groups. We can also group them together. So this would be the calves, right? This is one group. So we have the side muscles called fibularis. So we can group these together. And we have the front muscles, and we can group them as well. So you can think about these muscles in 3 groups as well. So usually when I'm drawing this one from side, it's like we have this chunk on the back, like this. We have the side muscle, like this. And we have the front one. Right, and one important thing here is this one, tibialis muscle, kind of starts here, but rolls over inside. So when you see a foot is not like this actually, right? Usually you see something like this. There's this break here. So that's caused by this muscle. Since it's changing directions here, it makes that detail. Kind of, I don't know, it's kind of unnecessary detail, but when you're drawing realistic, or I don't know, if you want to add more anatomy, it kind of looks nice as well. Anyway, so this for in this angle, what we would do is I would usually start with the back and build on top of it. So if you hide these, you have this one, right? Soleus. This is actually like the triceps, the inside part of the triceps. This is under, but usually we see it as well, right? I start with this one. It kind of starts with starts from the heel and connects to this top part of fibula. So it's something like this. If you imagine the heel here and the insertion here, so it's something like this, doing a shape like this. Oops, I'm actually drawing on the wrong layer. Yeah, something like this. And then on top of it, we have the calves, actual calves. So calves connect to the back of the lower part of the upper leg, and they kind of sit on top of this part. right? So they do something like this. And remember, I did this. So outside part is lower, inside part is higher. They do something like this. And it's the other way on the calves. So outside part of the calves is higher. This bump is higher. And inside part is lower. So it would be considering they are connecting to back part of this area, they would go like this. And then go like this. And we don't see the other parts. But maybe see it like this. Yeah, this dude's ending up with a huge lower body. Maybe we can draw it smaller, like this. Huge legs, yeah. Okay, and usually I don't even draw these unless I'm drawing a close-up of this area. But yeah, you can just put them in as well, like this, if you want to add more detail. But on the leg, usually, you just, I mean, I just add tibialis, right? Because even in the most well-developed bodies, unless a muscle is contracted, unless it's doing something, on the resting position, we don't see all the muscle details, right? Even in the most jacked people. So what I do is I just add the tibialis. So it's doing something like this. And maybe add that part here. Right, and then we have the kneecap, like this. And tendons continue, and there is this connection here, they connect here. And there are lots of fat pads here, making knee for us harder to draw. So making these irregular shapes here. But once you find one part, remember the simple shapes, if you find just, I don't know, maybe top of this part or bottom part of here, if you find one part of this and think about those simple shapes, you can solve the knee. But yeah, it's not as simple like this. There are lots of fat pads making these irregular shapes here. There are fat pads in between the kneecap and humerus, this one. But yeah, this is the basic approach I'm using. This is a very nice practice to make to keep your anatomy knowledge sharp, keep it fresh. It kind of took very long because I'm explaining at the same time and trying to draw in a way that's understandable. But yeah, when I'm practicing, I don't even go into this much detail. I'm just practicing the angles, finding the landmarks, doing this. Yeah, and if you like it, or if you want to draw over it, I just make another layer, and you can just draw over it, right? Yeah, you can just go like that. So yeah, we can either continue this later or talk about other parts. So just let me know, guys. Let me know on Discord what you want to see, what you want me to work on. But yeah, this is not accurate or realistic. This is just an approach to develop your understanding better. So again, as long as you focus on the insertions and origins, as long as you use this approach, you can apply it to any style. You can go realistic as well. But yeah, if you look at the extreme edge of stylization, like Disney Infinity figures, or I don't know, Disney drawings, or more exaggerated drawings, it's the same idea, right? It's a very good starting point for sure. Yeah, I mean, this kind of an in-between method. You can go realistic from it, or you can even stylize it. So if you want to, you can just, again, think about simple forms. Just go something like this, right? Go extreme. But the idea is the same, right? Finding the insertions and origins of the muscles. You don't have to draw all of them, but yeah. So it's very flexible. That's why I use it on the course. That's why I approach it like that. It's you can kind of apply it to many different styles and yeah, many different situations. Yeah, and I'm trying to take it all in. Don't worry, Sake. You'll get the course, anatomy course. This model comes free with the anatomy course. And I explain all these methods, all these concepts in detail. So you are going to learn it all. You can go on your own pace. Right, so no worries. So yeah, that's it, guys. I think, yeah. I hope you got something out of it. or at least enjoyed it. Definitely got something out of it. Spectacular even. Yeah, so uh, yeah, thank you so much for hanging out, guys. So yeah, we can continue this later, or maybe I can do an offline video, maybe finish this and post it on Discord. Yep. Thanks, TK. Thanks, Sake. I'll see you on the next one, guys. So take care. Peace.